Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you tonight. Excuse my throat being congested. For a album review tonight, a new album review for Miley Cyrus's "Something Beautiful" that I got a chance to listen to see what I was going to think of this record overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 13 tracks, which is a 52-minute record, and let you know my thoughts on Miley Cyrus's "Something Beautiful" album overall. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with Prelude, the opening track on this record, and it's mostly Miley Cyrus talking in it. Some nice melodies to it, so it's only 2.5 minutes, like 2 minutes and 35 seconds, but it's a solid track. It's pretty good in its own way. It builds up to the next track, but I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for this one. Pretty solid. Something Beautiful, the title track, is a good song, but I think the mixing was a little off for this, a little bit. It was alright, but it's just a good song in its own way. So I can appreciate this track for what it offered. So a 4.5 out of 5 for this one. End of the World is a alright song. I'd give this a probably like a 4.25 out of 5. I wasn't really feeling for some of the melody overall. It's a little too pop friendly and kind of cheesy. Kind of a little bit cheesy for how it sounded. So it's alright. It's above decent. So More to Lose is another one that I think is a good track for how it sounded. I think Miley Cyrus vocally sounded alright for this song. So this is a 4.5 out of 5 for this song. Excuse my throat being congested. It's just been like that most of the day. It's been like that for the past day or two. But other than that, More to Lose is a 4.5 out of 5. Interlude 1 is a good song for how it sounds. It's just an interlude track for a minute and some seconds, so it's not very long. But overall, from what I listened to, it's fine for how it sounds. So 4.5 out of 5. Easy Lover is a good song. I think Miley Cyrus sounded good vocally in this track, and just execution-wise, this track performed pretty well. So it's a 4.5 out of 5 for this one too. I think execution-wise of the melody, it sounded pretty good. Interlude 2 is another good track. Going into the next track afterwards, Golden Burning Sun is the next song after it, but I think it's an interesting interlude 2 kind of track, and it's the last interlude song for this record, but it's overall solid. So 4.5 out of 5. Golden Burning Sun is a pretty good song. I really do dig Miley Cyrus's vocal potential in this track, and just execution-wise, this track performed alright for how it sounded. So this is a strong 4.75 out of 5 for this song. It did pretty well for this song. It did pretty well. Sorry, my voice is like really giving out a few times in this video. Walk of Fame is a pretty good song in its own way. It's a pretty lengthy song. It's like almost 6 minutes. So it's just a second before it hits the 6 minute mark. But it's still pretty good for how it sounds. So I'd give this a 4.75 out of 5. Pretend You're God is a good song for how it sounds. I think with this track, it did alright. But there's some dull moments in this song that I felt could have used a little more work. But execution-wise, it was solid for how it sounded. So 4.5 out of 5 for Pretend You're God. Every Girl You've Ever Loved is a pretty good song for how it sounds. I think Miley Cyrus's vocals sounded pretty strong in this, and execution-wise with the melody, it did pretty well, held its own, and was a strong track for how it was executing. So 4.75 out of 5 for this one too. Reborn is a good song. I think there were some moments on the track I had my critiques about, but nothing to the extent where I think this was terrible. It was a good song for how it structurally sounded, and Miley Cyrus's vocals were pretty strong in this too. So another 4.5 out of 5. And finally, the closing track, Give Me Love, closed out the record all right. So another 4.5 out of 5 for this song too. I think with how it sounded, it did pretty well with the melody and how it sounded symphony-wise, like symphonically, melody structure, did pretty well in this track. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Miley Cyrus's new record, Something Beautiful, this new album is a good record. It's a step up from Endless Summer Vacation, even though Endless Summer Vacation did have its good moments. It started getting weaker as you progress through that record some of the time. But overall, with this record, it played it strong. I mean, there was one least favorite. Most of the tracks were pretty good and solid. But other than that, I wouldn't give them 5 out of 5s. They're not worthy of 5 out of 5s, but overall, the only song I had an issue with a little bit was End of the World with how it sounded overall. It sounded a little cheese pop kind of friendly, pop friendly kind of sound, but I think it worked to an extent. So if I were to give Miley Cyrus's Something Beautiful album a score, I'm feeling an 8 out of 10 for this record. It was a good record. I mean, check it out for yourself, see what you think of it. Because everyone else is going to have different opinions about what they think of this album and how they're going to feel about Miley Cyrus's new record, her ninth studio album. But overall, it held its own. It did good in its own way. I mean, one least favorite I had, but everything else was pretty strong and good for how it sounded. So, I think she did pretty well on this record, for the most part. So 8 out of 10 for Miley Cyrus, Something Beautiful. I don't I don't think it's going to be the good album of the year, but it's going to be an album I can probably appreciate. Sorry, my voice is like giving out a little bit. It's been doing that a lot. Like something's been coming up in my throat and it's just been giving out my voice when I'm trying to speak to you guys in this video. So I am very sorry you have to hear that. But overall, 8 out of 10 for Miley Cyrus, Something Beautiful for her new album. Thanks for watching this album review tonight.